Welcome to Ingå. This guided tour consists of two parts: Ingå Past and Present and Gammelgården Homestead Museum. This tour has been funded by Västnyländska Kultursamfundet as an EU project. Gammelgården. The Gammelgården Museum was founded in 1936 as part of Ingå's 600-year anniversary celebrations. The overriding idea was that the museum would be able to show future generations how people lived and worked in the past. The buildings, over 20 of them, together with all the various objects and tools, come from different places in Ingå. Each has its own story. The idea of a homestead museum originally occurred to veterinarian Ola Westman. In 1936, the museum committee, set up by the local council, was able simply to confirm that the work had already begun, since Ola Westman had collected an enormous number of objects. The following year, space was set aside in a field to the north of Hagalund farm. Gammelgården was to remain under municipal ownership, but to be cared for on a voluntary basis. Ola Westman eagerly set about realizing his vision of the museum, which, in 1937, received its first major donation, from Svartbäck, a windmill, which was re-erected on a neighboring hill. During the next few years, the main building from Illans in Fagervik, outhouses from Norrby and Dal, and the loft from Ålö were all moved to the site. This meant a great deal of work, as the old timbers had to be numbered during demolition, then re-erected in the correct position at Gammelgården. Then came the war, and the inhabitants of Ingå got something else to think about. Between 1949 and 1974, the boathouse from Storramsjö, the raised granary from Götars, the Linkulla smoke sauna, the Tekta sheep shed, the timber store from Wilhelmsdal, the barn from Haga, and the Lillbreds town smithy were all installed. Ola Westman had then been putting his efforts into Gammelgården for almost 30 years. Looking at the placement of the buildings in front of the main house today, the consideration and care taken is plain to see. Björn Hildén, the next great enthusiast, continued building out the museum behind the main house from 1975. Thus followed the Anta building from Linkulla, the Heimgård barn, Johannesberg school, the Buskisholm fisherman's cabin, the Kremars barn, the Fagervik sheep shed, and finally the loft from Espings in 1995. Björn Hildén led Gammelgårdens friends for almost 30 years and built the museum into the green oasis we see today. The association was dissolved in 2004, and Gammelgården is now looked after by the Ingå Museum and Village Association. The buildings at Gammelgården house more than 4,000 catalogued objects, which remind us of a time when almost all work was done by hand, when the only machines were the spinning wheel and the mangle. Relax and experience times gone by at Gammelgården. Please be careful though, so as not to damage the fragile objects. Other museums well worth a visit in Ingå are the Degerby Igor Museum, Malmtorp Farming Museum, the Cannons at Torp Museum, and the Shop Museum at Storö.